guys, welcome to the channel. Today is another one of my quick layouts. So I thought I would use, so I've been asked by quite a few people if I can do some simple pages that are straightforward, that would be easy to copy. So I decided to get back to basics, but I ended up purchasing these papers. Now these are Missy Moo Designs, Colourful Blooms, page number 16 and number 3. I'll have their store linked below. It's not sponsored or anything. It's not an affiliate link. It's just to help you get to their store. And I decided I have not backed a cut file like this in forever. I can't even remember the last time I did it like this. But for you guys, I'm going to go back a little bit and I'm going to make it super duper simple. So there's no extra hard bits. Now, I cut my cut file on white cardstock. I always cut everything on white cardstock, and then I can color it to suit myself. So I back the cut file with this black and white polka dot, and which is in between the floral accents. These colors are stunning, absolutely stunning. They do remind me of the colors used in some of the Paper Rose collections. So they're very similar colors, so but they're different, obviously different designs. So I decided to go around all my letters with this cool grey alcohol marker. Then I realized it still doesn't pop. Still doesn't pop. This took me a little bit because it's really, really hard when I'm so used to embellishing and going down the path the way I normally do with when I scrap. It was really difficult this is actually a lot harder for me to do, to like pare things back, use less embellishments, less, you know, it's really difficult for me to do this. So I struggled. I'm not going to lie, I struggled. So I decided that I was going to back my photos with the same cool grey, and my alcohol markers, I was going over it a couple of times to get a nice grey tone. You can see it there on the white paper, but it doesn't really sort of overly pop with the words. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm letting the words just sit there for a second for me to realize whether I do like it or if I don't like it. It's really, if I had have used a solid backing paper, it would have popped. It would have been fine. I love my titles to stand out, and my titles are usually the thing for me that I use to embellish my pages a lot, because even though I use everything, but quite often if you're stuck, if your subject matter tells the whole story, for me, I don't like to over embellish that kind of look. So this is where I sat and I looked and I realized, you know what? I think I want some black. So this is my black alcohol. Can you see it's just not popping? That title is not, it's just not popping. So I do have some black in the flowers down each side. So if you are looking for how to create a simple layout that looks really effective, go for papers like this, where they've got the color already in the background. You don't have to worry about ink. You've got the flowers running down both sides. They're nice and bright and bold. They're cheery. They lend themselves to so many things, because you've got blue. You could go down a boy path with those on there. Even though it's pink in the background, you've got the blue flowers. So if there's blue in your subject matter, you could do blue in your title and it would help it pop. Obviously the yellow or the pink or the purple, you could go down those routes as well. I'm adding a little bit of bling. Now I did go for my hardcore bling, which is the PINKFRESH Studio glitter drops. I used aqua, magenta and gold because I was trying to keep it simple. Okay, I'm trying not to go over the top. The title is still bothering me a lot because it's just not popping. But I thought if I go through and put my bling down first, maybe, and then I thought maybe it's my border. maybe my border's not bold enough to contrast against the flowers. Now, when you look at this up close, the flowers with that glittery bling, these, I've got to tell you, these bling packets, they are glitter drops, PINKFRESH Studio glitter drops. They are divine. There is more sparkle than you will find at a gay Mardi Gras. Like, they pop. They're beautiful. And I've got to tell you, I really do like how they turned out. Now, I decided that I would do a dotted border just so it wasn't so solid, just something a little bit, sort of a homage to what is the spots that I backed the cut file with. But I noticed that it really didn't kind of work for me very much. So this layout, I got to tell you, it evolved. It didn't just happen, it evolved. Because I'm so used, it's really, really hard if you've got everything at your beck and call that you can possibly imagine. It does one of two things. One, it allows you to be uber creative to create anything you want. But then the problem is doing something simple becomes very difficult. So this was actually, it was a really good test. And I did end up, after doing this page, I ended up doing one more in that simple mindset to see if I could, after doing two of them, I thought, right, I'm going to give it one more crack, see if I can do this. It's very hard for me. I've got to say, it is very, very, very hard for me. So I went over the grey again, and it still just isn't enough. I went along down each side and created a faux shadow for, this is me trying everything, right? Excuse me. I then thought maybe I put a bit of a shadow under the title with a bit of hickory smoke, watercolor pencil, and just sort of blend it out a little bit and see if that works. It's still not working. I know that I have to darken the border in and around this title because it's not working. Then I thought maybe because the background is a bit too bland, maybe I just need to add a bit of pattern to it. And that did help. That really, really did help. It's just a couple of dots. I do like 3 dots. I do 2 and then sort of like 2 eyes and a nose. That's how I do it. And as soon as I put this pen to this title, I knew that's what it needed. So I guess keeping it simple is one thing, but keeping it simple, and by the way, I'm using the wedge end of the alcohol marker, and I'm keeping it very, very flat because I'm extremely, very, very mindful of the fact that if I go off the edge, and I did on the E down the bottom, if I did that all the way around, I probably would have just thrown this in the bin and started again because it was taking so many steps to try and get it to look right. It was difficult. It was a learning curve for me to unlearn everything I've learnt to just get back to basics. It was very, very hard. So, but I enjoy the challenge. So please, by all means, challenge me. Tell me something that you would like to see me try and do maybe next week in my videos, because I'm usually a week in advance. That looks so much better. So much better already. Having that darker border with the darker words, because I felt like the flowers were there, but they were taking over the entire layout. Now, I am using my distressed watercolor pencils because I'm trying to get this. You could really see the dots, okay, because I used the Posca paint pen for the dots and it just didn't quite look right. So I wanted to do some shading. I was in the mood. It was rainy and stormy here, and when I was doing this, and it was just the mood. It was that even though the flowers are super bright and bold and I love them, I wanted to tone it down with a little bit of shadowing, a little bit of grunging it up a bit. So my dogs are going to bark. I apologise. I'm guessing it's probably the postie, but that's okay. So Dory's just sitting inside barking. She hasn't even got a clue what she's barking at, but she's barking. So that's all right. So they've all exited. They're all outside now, so that's good. Now I am... So this is pretty much... And I just added a little bit more shadowing underneath. I think the biggest problem I had on this layout was the fact that there was all that big pink space. And it was messing with my head. I'm happy with it in the end, and I did stop because I was making this a quick layout. So here it is, guys. Let me know what you think. Do you go through struggles like this? Because it was a struggle for me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Those 3 things are super important for my channel at this stage. And I've also got my Facebook and Instagram and my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description as well. And I will chat to you tomorrow with another video. Thanks for that, guys. Bye for now.